Hello everyone, welcome to my indoor grow space. We are in my indoor grow space for this fall and winter season, and things have changed a little bit since last year, and let me share with you how my setup is going to look this year. Now, one of the things that we like to do is to get better from year to year, right? And so I have made several improvements to my setup this year versus how I had it set up last year. And I just want to take you with me and show you what I'm doing. We are finally getting ready to talk in more detail about my grow space. Now, my indoor grow space is not the largest grow space, but I want to show you how I'm setting it up this year. And so maybe you're interested in buying a few of the items that I'm using, or you just want to see how it's going to start out before I start filling it up, growing vegetables for my winter garden. So let's just take a look at the tent and the lights and the setup and all of those things that come with it. For my indoor grow space, I have a Vivosun indoor grow tent. My grow tent is a 5x5, so 5 feet wide, 5 feet deep, and I bought it on Amazon, and the link is in the description below. And so the reason why I went with this particular style, so let me show it to you. So if you look at the top there, it is angled. And with this only being a 5x5 grow tent, it would be very difficult to stand inside of it if it didn't have this angle at the top. So I'm not the tallest person, but you should be able to see that I am standing up completely inside. I believe is 6 feet tall, right in the center. Now I'll put the dimensions right here just so you know the height of this particular grow tent. Now the reason why I chose this one, if I had gone any larger than this grow tent, my ceiling would have been too low. So if you can see, I am working with a very low ceiling space in this area. So I'm downstairs in my basement, and there's a drop ceiling here, which doesn't give me a lot of room to go up. So when you're getting your indoor grow tent, remember, don't forget about the height as well. And that was something I had to think about as I was looking at my grow space. Now I had room. I could have went 8x8, 10x10. I could have went at 8x12. But from a height standpoint, my grow tent would not have been able to fit with my drop ceiling in this space. So this is a 5x5, and I can stand inside of it, which is a big important piece. There's a door on this side of the grow space, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I typically leave it open, but I can zip it closed. There's also a door on this side of the grow space. So with me putting green stalks in here, I can get to the green stalk from both sides. Not that I need to, because I'm just going to put it on a swivel so I can just turn it around. But if I needed to get to the back side of something, I would just open this other door. Now, once the doors are zipped closed, it's completely blacked out. There will be no light escaping this grow tent. So you can actually put your grow space or grow tent in spaces that you frequent often without these bright lights coming from it. So if I zipped it closed, no light would come out of this particular grow tent. So this is where I start all of my seedlings in the winter. And I also have a small winter garden that I keep in here. So let's go inside and talk about some of the lighting and other things that I have inside. So I am inside the grow space here, and you see I'm 5'1", and I'm standing up, and I have room to move around, and I don't have to duck. Now, if you're 6+, you may have some issues with having to duck down to be in here, but for me, this is the perfect size for my 5'1" height. But in here, I also have some shelving units. So I have 2 shelving units. They are 4 feet long, and I don't forgot the dimensions on how deep they go, but I have 2 identical shelving units. And each of those shelving units are the same dimensions. And I just have one bumped up against the other one, taking that corner out so I'm not losing any space. And I typically don't need all of these shelves when I'm in my winter months until I start my seedlings. And when I start my seedlings, I tell you, we will be using each and every one of these shelves. I am adding a picture for you up in the corner here. I got these off of Amazon. They were very reasonably priced, and there will be a link in the description below. Now, let's take a minute to talk about all these bright lights all around me. Now, I have 3 different brands of grow lights in my grow space. Actually, 4 different types of grow lights in my grow space. So I have what's called an Atreum light. So this light right here is called Atreum lighting. And again, I'll put a link right into the description box below. But these are LED lights. And here are the LED lights here. I have 4 of these. And these can be slid into place. They can be raised. They can be lowered. You can put them in many different positions. I can put them at an angle. And so I have enough lights in here to span this whole grow space. They come with all of the little clips where you can raise and lower them. And you actually tie right onto the bar of the indoor grow space. So in the tent, there's rails and bars throughout, and you can slide all of these grow lights along the rails and the bars, which will let you move the lights into position. So that's my Atreum lighting. These are LED grow lights. The description's below. In my mind, reasonably priced when you're thinking about LED grow lights and that have the full spectrum. And these grow lights, you can dim them to where they're very low, or you can put them on full power. So if you don't need a lot of lights and you just need a little bit and you want to come in dim, that's fine. But when you need the full power of the sun, you can crank them all the way up to 100%, and it puts off a ton of light. The other great thing about Atreum lighting is that you can connect them to each other. I have 4 Atreum lights, and they're all interconnected. And the electric all runs out the back to the side here, and all 4 of these units are connected together. And I use one control to dim and brighten all 4 with one knob. And based on the size of my grow space, if I was only going to put stuff on the floor of my grow tent, I would only need maybe 2 grow lights in here. 4 for sure is more than enough to cover if I was only going to put stuff on the floor. But that's not how I do things. I like to go up. I like to go vertical. And so, to ensure that I have coverage on all of the different shelves of all of my shelving units, I had to do some things a little differently. So let's talk about those next. Now I have regular shop lights tied underneath each of my shelving units here. So this is just a regular shop light, and they can be, there's another one down there, and they can be connected to each other as well. And so then you just turn on the ones that you need. And so right now I have this, I guess you call it red filtering grow light. So the tubes on this one are LED or red filtering for grow lights. The 2 down here, I believe, are 10,000K. But just regular old shop lights. That's all they are. Regular old shop lights. They are super cheap, and they do the job when you're starting seedlings. And with them being individually connected, I can turn them on and turn them off as I need them. And at the moment, I only need this one on, and I have the pull string back there, and it's doing its job. Now, I also have one more grow light up here, and I have a video on the unboxing of this particular grow light because I had all of my lights going to town, taking care of all of the different seedlings that I was starting, but I had an issue getting to the front of my shelves. So last year, I only had one shelf in my grow space, one shelving unit. And so I had to turn all of my trays this way to make them all fit. And the front of the trays would stick way out in front of the shelving. And these lights weren't putting any lighting, no sunlight of any kind was hitting the front of these shelves. So I purchased this grow light right here. Now this is a Vivosun grow light. This is the real deal. It's heavy duty up there. And this one grow light honestly would probably cover the whole tent if I would just properly place it. But I added this light so I could cover the middle of the grow tent. So now we've talked about 3 different types of lights, but I still have one more type of grow light in my grow space. And this is just a regular old utility light. I think I paid like 10 bucks from the local box store last year for it. So it's probably 20 this year with the cost of inflation. But I paid 10 bucks for this frame. I have it on a pulley so I can raise and I can lower it. But this is more like a spotlight. I can put it on a particular pot that I'm growing in. And the bulb here is a grow bulb. So if you go to where your grow lights are in the store, wherever you're going, the big box store or wherever, you can find different types of grow lights. And so I added grow lights to these utility lights, and I have 2 of those back here that I can put directly down on a pot that may be sitting on the floor inside of my grow tent. That's all of the different lights that I have in my grow tent. And it seems like there's a lot of lights, but I don't use them at all times. And I know I have them all on right now, but you only want to turn on the lights that you need covering the plants that you're growing, because grow lights can definitely run up your energy bill if you're using more than what you really need. So make sure you're only turning on the grow lights you need when you need them. So the next thing that we should be talking about is the timer. So I have a timer connected to all of my lights actually. So everything is on a timer. So my lights are only going to stay on for 12 hours. No matter what time of year it is, 12 hours is the max that they're going to ever get. So they come on in the morning, they stay on all day, whichever ones need to be on. And then at night, they're going off. So I do 12 hours. Now, you really don't need grow lights until your seedlings have broken ground, but I might not be here when they break ground. So I am always keeping my lights on at a 12-hour time increments. But you only need them if your plants have broken ground. So it's just something to keep in mind. So that's the timer. What else do I have in here? That's really it for now. When I'm doing seedlings, I will have a heat mat to help start some of the seedlings. I don't have that out right now. When it's time to start seedlings, I'll make sure I share that with you. But I have 2 seed mats or 2 heat mats to start seedlings. My heat mats come with a thermostat, so I can actually set the temperature to how warm I want those heat mats to go. So it's not just on and off. I actually have a way to adjust the temperature for those. But we'll get more into that in the spring when it's time to start those seedlings. The other thing that's super important to have in your grow space, in your indoor grow space, is movement. If we were outdoors, your little plants would be getting hit by the wind blowing, and it makes their stems strong. It makes for a stronger plant. So I have fans blowing in my indoor grow space. So I only have one fan on right now. This little one is just a little clip-on fan that I got from Amazon. And I just have that one fan on because I am only growing in one tray at the moment. And if I needed additional fans, I think it came in a 2-pack. That's why I have two. This one's not on right now. And then when I really, really need to circulate the air because I'm in the middle of my seed starting season, I'll just bring out a box fan and I'll set that box fan just outside the grow space and have it circulate all the air inside the grow space. Now, I could purchase a carbon filter that would filter the air coming out of my grow space. Because if you keep your grow space completely closed up, and think about it, with those lights on and the moisture that could be inside your grow space, it could have some odor. I don't have that issue, not with vegetables. I'm only growing vegetables. So I don't need that. But that is something that you could purchase for this grow space if you need it. But I don't need a carbon filter. I keep my doors open. I keep the air moving for my vegetables because that's what's honestly better for the vegetables. It keeps down the growth of algae and it just makes for a stronger plant. But that is something that you can buy separately from the grow tent if you need that carbon filter. There's a place back here where you can connect that carbon filter and run other cords and wires in here as needed. But for me, I don't need that right now. So for this winter grow space, I will be starting a few pots. So I do have a few pots as well in my grow tent. They're just sitting there waiting for me to fill them up with something good. I also have a space over here that I have prepared for my green stalks that I'll be bringing in here as well. That'll be a separate video. So that's the indoor grow space. But there are other things that you need to make sure that you're ready to grow in an indoor space. So let's swing over here and talk a little bit about this area. Now, last year, I just had boxes and stuff all over the floor. I wasn't very organized. This year, I bought an additional racking system. Now, this racking system, I believe is, I don't know, but I'll put it right here. It's just like the racking systems that are inside my grow space, and they are just a little deeper and of course taller. If I had bought this one, it would have been too tall for my indoor grow space. So out here I have blankets because I am on a carpeted floor, so I'm trying to protect the carpet as much as I can. On this shelf I also have all of my seed starting trays, the bins that I prepare my seeds in, all kinds of nooks and crannies and all those different things you need to start young seedlings. I also have my seeds over here. Here's a box of my seeds. And then I got seeds over here and seeds over there and seeds behind me. I have a lot of seeds, y'all. I also have over here containers for water. If I need to do a little spritz, I got spritz over here. What else do I have? I'm working super hard to be more organized this year. So I do have two totes over here this year. And in these totes, this one here is just filled with seed starting items, the little trays, cups, anything to deal with seed starting. And then in this one over here, this is all of my soil. So I have compost in here. I have potting mix in here, mixed together, just ready to go into some type of container. And even in my indoor grow space, I still only use potting mix. So I have a couple extra bags of moisture control, Miracle Grow potting mix ready to fill up my bin here when needed. And I also have a couple bags of compost in that box there that I ordered toward the end of the season so that I can make sure that I can have compost in here as well. So this is my space. This is where you're going to hang out with me this winter. as I'm harvesting fresh vegetables from my indoor grow space. And as we start thinking about the plan for next year's garden, this is where we'll be hanging out. So we'll spend a lot of time here together. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions whatsoever about the setup that I have for my indoor grow space, please just inbox me and I'll try to answer those questions. I will have a link below to all of these different items that I use to set up my grow space. And so you should be able to just click on the link and it'll take you right to Amazon, where I purchased pretty much everything that's in here. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you will join me this winter. And so until next time, and I hope there will be a next time, bye.